An ongoing shallow intrusion of magma was recently detected at a United States volcano, and this is quite interesting for one key reason. As, depending on your interpretation of existing data, the volcano in question, known as Kupreanof, may have never produced an eruption in historical times, or even an eruption during the entire Holocene epoch. That means this could be an example of a truly dormant volcano coming to life after more than 10,000 years of inactivity. Before I elaborate on the level of uncertainty present, let's go over the current situation and discuss what threats, if any, it might pose to US citizens or tourists. Kupreanof is a glacier-top stratovolcano, albeit a highly eroded one, which can be found in the remote Aleutian Peninsula of Alaska, specifically about 510 miles southwest of Anchorage. While weak plumes of gas rising from its notable fumarolic field just west of its summit are to be expected, something clearly changed at Kupreanof this February, with a further escalation since early April. Initially, there was a sustained and progressive increase in the strength of degassing from its fumarolic field. But then, starting on April 4th, sulfur dioxide began to be repeatedly detected emanating from the volcano, a gas that in large amounts only tends to exist when there is also very shallow magma present, generally under 3 miles depth. While background daily rates of less than 100 tons of sulfur dioxide were noted beforehand, elevated rates of 100 to 1,000 tons a day have repeatedly been observed since April 4th. Alongside this, notable increases in multiple types of seismicity have occurred, including groups of events that could be classified as earthquake swarms. And this isn't normal for the volcano either, as it generally doesn't produce many regular earthquakes of any kind. While deep earthquakes began being detected near Kupreanof at an elevated rate in February, shallow earthquakes increased in April, and May has seen the occurrence of deep low-frequency events. When combined, these signs of unrest point to the likelihood that not only is an intrusion of magma ongoing, but it has likely risen to under 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles depth. As a result, on May 12th, Kupreanof's alert level was raised to yellow. If an eruption were to occur, it would, in my opinion, most likely be phreatic, occurring at its near summit fumarole field. However, an actual magmatic eruption with lahars, more extensive ashfall, and potentially pyroclastic flows is not out of the question either. Yet, while volcanoes can behave unpredictably, despite the lack of sensors on this volcano, it is believed that signs of unrest would further increase from its current point before an eruption occurs. So, while there technically is an increased risk of an eruption at Kupreanof right now, an eruption is not interpreted as being imminent or near imminent. After all, this unrest has been ongoing for a little over 3 months. Now, if a small to medium-sized eruption were to occur, in my opinion, nearby communities, which yes, do exist, would not be in any danger, although some ash can hypothetically fall on structures. I say small to medium because, from what we can see, in my current opinion, I am not observing any signs that the current presumed intrusion of magma is large. However, any sized explosive eruption could hypothetically disrupt regional air traffic to a degree for a time, hence why Kupreanof is rated as a moderate threat volcano by the US Geological Survey. With all of this in mind, it must be stated that there is no seismic or monitoring equipment on Kupreanof's edifice. Instead, the closest equipment is 17 miles to the east, and that was placed to monitor the typically more active Veniamino volcano. So, there are probable noise issues and gaps in our current data of Kupreanof. As for when Kupreanof last erupted, the answer could be 1987, sometime in the Holocene before the historical record began, or between 9700 BCE but less than 50,000 years ago. It all depends on your interpretation of 2 pieces of data. On March 10, 1987, a pilot noted a weak ash plume that originated from Kupreanof. While this could have marked a small phreatic eruption, it could have also simply been either a hydrothermal explosion and thus not an eruption, or pieces of rock that collapsed on its fumaroles before being subsequently thrown upwards as fine material. A similar report was made in 2015 by a person offshore on a ship, but neither instance was conclusively labeled as an eruption. As for the possible older but still Holocene-aged eruption, that is based off of the finding of a yet-to-be precisely dated block and ash deposit east of Kupreanov's summit. This could represent a pyroclastic flow deposit from an eruption, or it could represent a completely non-volcanic landslide. After all, the volcano is quite eroded. Stay tuned for more updates. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube for supporting my work.